I am going to create my TBR jar in this video with you. Ella's loving this activity. A book that is over 100 years old. I do like that prompt. I like that a lot more. Can we skip to the good part? Ladies and gentlemen, I present my leaning towers of books. I have taken upon myself the challenge of getting through my entire physical TBR. And in another video, we counted and there were around 140 books that I own and have yet to read. That is the combination of all of the books that you can see the spines of. The other 9 stacks that I have where you don't see the spines but you just see the paper, the pages, I have read those. So not to worry, it's a huge feat, but it's not as big as it could be because I've read all of the stacks on the outsides. To make my reading journey getting through this TBR a little spicier, a little more fun, a little unpredictable, I've been inspired by so many other people and I've decided I want to create a TBR jar. So I've got these 4 colors of stickies and I have a beautiful jar that I used to have my sourdough starter in, but it wasn't working well in that jar, so I've gotten a new jar. So I have a previously loved jar and it's good, it's big, my fingers fit inside. I will go grab it from my pantry in just a second. And I'm going to grab my laptop to get some inspiration for prompts, and I am going to create my TBR jar in this video with you. I'm so curious if other people also have a TBR jar. I remember having one years ago, but it wasn't prompts like a 4-word book title or a certain color or release year. It was, I had written out, I can't believe I threw this out because that was so much of my time, but I had written out every single book I owned, like every book on my physical TBR, and then every month or week, or I think every time I would finish a book, if I didn't want to mood read and I wanted something almost prescribed to me, I would pick out from the previous TBR jar I had and it was just the title. But I think we can be a little more creative, and I personally love watching TBR videos, so I wanted to create this jar. And then it's March 30th, which means only one more day. Tomorrow's March 31st, and then we're into April, and I don't really have any books that I'm set out to read in April, and I think it'd be a perfect time to start the TBR jar so that I can also pick my April TBR in this fun new way. With that being said, I am in a pink spring mood. Today is ever so slightly warmer than the terrible cold Canadian winter we've been having. So I want to take it upon myself to make a really fun TBR jar, and that is what we're doing today. So I'm gonna grab, I have a pencil right here, I'm gonna grab my laptop like I said for some inspo, and I'm gonna grab the jar and we'll get cracking on some TBR prompts. So I pulled out my jar and I have my laptop in front of me, and normally I'm kind of a fan of Reddit, more than kind of. I looked up TBR jar prompts and someone had created a Reddit post and a thread, and people are being so judgmental and just saying, just read a book. Like, why do you need this? This sounds like you're procrastinating reading. What is the point of this? It is so weird. Everyone's so negative. That put me off, but I did find some good sites with other prompts that are really helpful. I'm not going to go through my entire TBR because I did a whole video on like counting my TBR and taking on the challenge to go through it. Maybe I could do a video where I rapid fire 30 seconds go through every title on here. That would be a lengthy video, and I actually just bought a new book. I have such a big mix of nonfiction, classics, fiction, fantasy, romance. I have some sci-fis on there. I have series and standalones. I have a big mix. There aren't really any new releases, I'd say. Anytime I've bought new releases, like something in the past year, I usually read it right away, and that was why I bought it, because it was priority read for me. So I don't think I'm gonna do anything with the year, but maybe more genres and like colors and I don't know. Let's have fun with it. Here's the jar right now. I'll plop it on. This is my current read, by the way, Releasing 10 by Chloe Walsh. Comment your current read. This is so sad. Oh my gosh, I stayed up last night pretty late because I was so upset at where the story was. I wanted to get to the good part. Can we skip to the good part? But spoiler alert, I didn't get to the good part. There probably isn't a good part, it's just all sad. Let's get started on this bad boy. A book that is over 100 years old. I mean, I'm sure I have one that's over 100 years old, but okay, should I do that? Yeah, that's my first prompt. I was just reading on my laptop. I guess I'll do that. A book that's over 100 years old. My handwriting right now is not very pretty. And what I'll do so that I don't see it in the jar is fold it over itself like this. There's the first one. How many of these do I do? Surely not enough for all of my books, because that'd be 140 of them. I don't think we're gonna go that far. Also, I don't think these colors will mean anything because I don't want to reach for a certain color and then only read a certain type of book. So I'm just alternating between these pretty pastel-y, springy colors. I've just had these forever since I was in uni. A genre you don't typically read. That's hard because I have so many different genres in there. A book you bought this year. I do certainly have books I've bought this year. I'm thinking just yesterday I bought a book, which is Dance of Thieves. I'm excited to read that. A 5-star prediction. I do like that prompt because there are quite a few on my stack that I think could definitely be 5 stars. The book that's been on your TBR the longest. That's tough because when I finally started tracking my TBR, I added probably 50, so I don't think I can really do that prompt, unfortunately. Under 250 pages. And then should we do over 500? Do I even have that many over 500? I have a few. Okay, yeah, we'll do over 500. As I said that, I looked at the Priory of the Orange Tree, that huge one you see right there. That's certainly over 500 pages. A book with a character's name in the title. I'm sure there are some. I don't really want to look as I write them because I think that'll make me think, oh, I should save that book for this prompt. And I don't want to do that. I want to see what inspiration strikes as I'm picking the prompts each month. Animal on the cover. I like that. I was watching Jamie Folk's video yesterday and she had one that was a 4-word title. So I'll do that. 4-word title. Maybe I'll do a 1-word title as well. At this point, do I do them all? 2-word title. I can do that. Okay, there must be 2 and 3 word titles. Yeah, 2 and 3 word titles. A book that you think will make you cry. Oh my gosh, wait. This is so sad and flat. Maybe I should, I can't even pick them up because they stick to the bottom. So I have to bend them. That's funny. Maybe I should have used larger sticky notes. I haven't crafted in a while. I know this is a very low stakes craft, but I kind of like this break. This is the funniest way I've used my lunch break in a really long time. For anyone else who works a 9 to 5, I'm really curious if you're able to read in little pockets of time, like at lunch breaks, for example. I really struggle to do that and I kind of stopped trying. I try to just read at night or in the morning or in the weekends because the context switching I find a bit difficult and it's harder for me to get motivated to go back to work after spending a lunch reading. I will just read the rest of the afternoon and I certainly can't do that with everything happening in work right now. Okay, I like that a lot more. That looks more fun. So, and I guess that way I can't actually read the prompt. So that's what we'll be doing from now on. This is interesting, one with a number in the title. Oh, I don't know if I have any. Fourth Wing. I've already read it though. Did I say a sad book? Ooh, I can't remember if I put that one. If I did, whatever, we're doing it again. So I will do sad book / cry. That doesn't happen too often. Not even Alchemist. Alchemist didn't make me cry, but it made me probably the saddest a book has ever made me. An author that has the same last initial as your aunt. That's just my last initials. A Jane Austen book. I don't think I have any left on my TBR. I think I've read Have I read her entire backlist? Certainly the novels, but there must be some short stories I haven't read. A book title with a V in it. Definitely write down below if you have other prompt ideas that I don't do today, because this jar clearly needs a lot of filling and I have so many books, and I think it'd be fun to get other people's prompt ideas as well. I'm just looking off random lists on the internet and kind of thinking of my own. I'll do one that's a pink cover, honor of my cardigan, and the sticky note is pink. Let's do a favorite author, so then that month I'll know I'm reading at least someone I enjoy. Bella Bella. Should we do genres? Let's do a series romance, because there are some I have that are part of series, but usually I find myself going for standalones when I'm picking up a romance. Why don't we do sci-fi or fantasy? I'll write mystery. I have a few of those I think on my TBR, and I don't pick them up very often, to be honest. How about the next book in a series? That'll help me also with my challenge of finishing all the series I'm in the middle of. A book with a movie adaptation. I don't really know why I'm making that a prompt. I don't really care when things have been adapted. Fun fact, The Deal by Elle Kennedy, so the off-campus series, was made into a TV show, and I'm so excited. I think it comes out in a few weeks. I don't know if it's April or May, actually, but I know I will be binging that the moment it's out. I'll do a young adult. I haven't read a young adult book in a while, and I do believe I have a few on my TBR, actually. Ooh, I'm gonna do a prompt. I think Joe will like this, that Joe picks my next read. Ella's loving this activity. We're gonna do least popular, and I'll just use good ratings. I'll use Goodreads ratings to gauge the popularity of the books. Current season. So for April, if I get this, I would pick one that I think works the best in spring. Ooh, I'm gonna say French book. I have a handful. I think, well, I have the Harry Potter series, and then I have 2 or 3 books in French on my TBR. I'm probably gonna dread the day that I pick this, but I do think that would be good for me to keep practicing and reading in a different language. So that just says French on it. I like this. We're gonna do a book about books in the title, or if I know from the synopsis, or if I know anything about that book and it's even remotely about books, it counts. Look how tiny this is. I feel I've written so many. Isn't that crazy, Ella? A book with a title that is more than 6 words. We can do that. I need to look. Okay, I'm gonna try, without a prompt in mind, I'm gonna look at my TBR, think of what else could take off some of these boxes. Okay, I'm gonna do one prompt that is a book I know nothing about, because there are quite a few where I genuinely don't know any bit of the synopsis. And then I want to do one that's I bought the book. That's quite a few of them. And then I want to do that one that's I received it, because I have a few that I've received either as gifts, or like someone was giving away their books, they were moving, or even before I was on this like Simon and Schuster list. So I guess we'll do hardback and paperback. I think that would be really easy to just have a little more freedom. We'll do one that's a pretty cover. Yes, that's subjective, but it's only one prompt, so I'm pretty much saying that it's the prettiest cover on my TBR when I get this. We'll do just a few more, and that'll definitely set us up for at least April, because I want to pick about 4 or 5 a month. I don't want to be super strict on myself, so I think I'll start off just picking 4 per month out of the TBR jar, and the rest can kind of be mood reading or whatever. Yeah, essentially mood reading, whatever I feel like reading in the moment, plus what's in my TBR jar. I think what could be fun too is, as friends or anyone comes over, if they have inspiration for something to add to the jar, they can add it. And like I said, if you have anything that you suggest I add to the jar, definitely let me know. I guess we'll do a book with a place in the title. I want to finish with one more really fun prompt. Let's do a book with colors matching the outfit I'm wearing when I pick that prompt. Did that make sense? So like today I would do pink, or actually my pants are blue. So I would pick a title that preferably has pink and blue. Not a title, a book, but or just one of the colors. Okay, how am I gonna write that? How am I gonna write that out? Colors match the fit. I'll know what this means. I'm trying to think. If I added one that's like Jasmine, my best friend, picks the book I'm reading, how would she respond in time? If I was filming my TBR, Jar picks my prompts. I just don't think she would respond in time, and that's okay. That's okay that we know this about her. I guess I'll do nonfiction. I'll write that one as well. Otherwise, I'm scared I won't pick any nonfictions. All right. Well, I ended on not as fun one. I think the color one was really unique, but nonfiction is the latest one I added. Okay, there you have it. That's my TBR jar. I'm actually really excited now to use it and pick my April TBR. So definitely watch that when it's out. It'll probably be out very, very soon. And I'm excited to see if I'm gonna stick to it. I hope I do, because with 140 books on a TBR, it is a little bit daunting sometimes to just sit down and pick a book. I don't even know what mood I'm in half the time. And honestly, the easiest thing for me is when I go on a trip and I bring, let's say, 5-ish books with me. I usually read almost all of them, and I love that almost forcefulness of reading those. It takes away the, I don't know, daunting feeling of choice. What is it that we have an abundance of choice? It's like the paradox of choice. Oh my gosh, you know what I'm talking about. It's the same, like we live in an era and an age where we have too much choice and it's overwhelming, and it makes us think there's always something better out there. And that's kind of how I feel when I'm staring at this TBR stack. I'm like, oh well, I could read this, but what if this book is better? What if that book matches my mood better? What if it matches the season better? And it's like, no, I just need a little bit of direction and to stick with what I want to read. I'm making this probably a much bigger deal than it needs to be, and maybe all readers do that. I don't know. This is where I will leave you. I'm very excited about my little jar. I think I'm gonna plop it also just like on top of probably that stack, so it's front and center with all my books. And I'm gonna keep noodling on some prompts. I want them to be fun and make me push outside my normal boundaries. That's kind of my goal with this. Let me know if you have some ideas. That's all for me. Have a lovely rest of your day. Bye.